Hey everybody, I'm back.
Don't you try and tell me, man, what's right for me to do. Just remember what's good for me ain't good for you. I just keep my nasty ways, shove it in your face. You can step in out of line, put you in your place. Baby, what you gotta say? Maybe.
That's right, girls and boys. Oh, that's right, babies. Hey, that's music, isn't it? Great band. Great band. From here in Rome, New York. That's Red Hush. And they recorded a song called Smoke a Little Freedom. I want to thank them for allowing me to use the song, and I intend to use it a few more times because it's a great tune, isn't it? And it's our battle cry, smoke a little freedom. That's what we're all about here, too. Freedom. Smoking, too, I suppose, for some of us, but there's a lot of ways to do that. Hey, anyway, welcome back. This is the LICNY podcast for July 12th, 2019. Welcome back. What are we here for? Still? Ammunition. Ammo. Ammo to debunk reefer madness. Ammo so you can dominate conversations about cannabis with truth, facts, and data to defeat lies, fable, and paranoia. Ammo so you can set your crosshairs precisely on the right targets, the ones who stand in the way of your elementary basic right and freedom to responsibly cultivate, consume a beneficial plant as you see fit, as free, peaceful, responsible adult citizens of the USA. Yep, that's why we're here again, still. We're not going away either, are we? I'm not. So look, it's been a while, right? It's been a while since our last podcast. Since I last sat here and did what it is I do. Anything interesting happen since the last one? Anything been going on at all? Yeah, what a roller coaster ride it was, wasn't it? This past New York State Assembly session, or maybe better described as the year of the big green lie. Yeah, we got hosed. No doubt about it. We were misled. We were lied to. We were given false hope promises, and we were pledged, and they screwed us. When it came down to what looked like they were actually going to come up with something that recognized, if even from a distance, the will of the people, they folded. They failed. So who's they? Well, if you read through the comments around here on the Legalize It CNY Facebook group, if you read through those comments, it's a really long list of who the screw-ups were, and there's plenty of blame to go around, isn't there? Believe me, just like many of you guys, I was consumed with anger and disbelief as it all began to crumble right before our eyes. How dare they? After all the passionate pleas and the pious speeches about how freedom was a-coming, those who were unjustly treated were going to get justice once and for all. Didn't happen. You know, I agreed with that all. I still do, because that's who I am. That's who I've always been. I hate to see people get screwed over for idiotic reasons, like their skin color or their nationality or their sex or their address, whatever. I abhor injustice, and I will stand for freedom until I take my last bong rip. So, if you will indulge me, I'm going to reread my own post-con job commentary, the one it took me weeks to calm down and chill enough for it not to be just a run-on sentence of profanity We saw plenty of that on the group, and it was well-deserved. I get it. I'm just admitting that I was unbelievably pissed, just like you were. And if you remember, here was my response. What bothers me, number one, and it's something I brought up way early on and warned everybody. It's not like I have a crystal ball, but something I warned everybody early on was going to be happening. Project Sam came to town. That's my number one gripe. Project Sam, they're nothing but a support group for the for-profit rehab industry, and yet somehow they've been adopted by the media as reputable. No matter how many times I or others point out that they're not and tell you what they're about, that's who the media chooses to listen to. So they need to be in the crosshairs of everyone who's tired of them spreading the lies, the fables, and the paranoia. Exposing Sam for who they are should be shouted every time they're quoted. And going forward, we're going to do that even more energetically than we did before. Number two thing that bothers me. How the hell our own New York State medical marijuana providers greased Governor Cuomo's re-election campaign to the tune of $250,000, which sounds good because they wanted cannabis legalized just like we did. And then, through a Freedom of Information law request, we find that they used that $250,000 worth of influence to encourage our governor to disallow home cultivation. To me, that alone flies in the face of freedom more than any other point. More than any other point. The fact that our government won't allow us to grow a plant, it's ridiculous. There's no freedom if you can't drop a seed in the soil and grow a plant. It's ridiculous. So, but that's what they did. And again, flies in the face of freedom like no other point does. Point number three. In hindsight now, and this is hindsight, I got to place some of the blame and responsibility on organizations like the Drug Policy Alliance. I know, sounds weird coming from me, but it's true. I place some blame on them for not bending in terms of their demand for a larger share of the tax revenue. Doesn't seem like it worked out real well for you, Drug Policy Alliance. Doesn't seem like it worked out really well for the people. We all agree deserve what you were asking for, what you were demanding. I agree, you deserve it. But you didn't get anything. You had nothing. Nothing in between. And the same people we were fighting for, both you and I, are still going to be persecuted and prosecuted. So, how did holding out work? Not really well. Point number 4. The turncoat Democrats, most of them downstate. Some of those people actually campaigned on legalization. It was part of their platform. And they flipped. Unbelievable. How can you guys even face your constituents, some of whom actually voted for you based on your campaign promises? How do you face them? Yeah, from what I hear from group members down on Long Island, southern New York, it's going to get really hot for you down there. We're going to need to hear from you, and we're going to need some explanations. And if we don't get them, things are going to get tough for you as far as your reelection, as far as your job security. Number 5, I'm going to go right to the people who we know we believed, and I still do to a point, were fighting like hell for us. Liz Kruger, Crystal Peoples-Stokes, Diane Savino, the writers of the Marijuana Regulation and Tax Act and Diane Savino's paltry medical expansion bill. Fortunately, that failed. But you all failed. Every single one of you failed. You needed to bend too. The DPA wouldn't bend. You wouldn't bend. No one would bend. You couldn't bend enough to give anything even remotely resembling the freedom that we deserve. And that's always going to be my biggest complaint. Because none of you ever talk about that. The ridiculous notion, again, that people are not free to grow a damn plant for themselves. You're always so focused on what's least important to every single cannabis user that I know. What you all get to do with the tax money. That's been your focus. That's what you fought over, and that's what you failed us about. And we never cared about it day one. It's the least of our concerns what you people do with the tax money. Okay, well, but that's what you did. You failed. Own it. Number 6, Governor Cuomo. Make no mistake, yeah, I know he's a snake. Of course he is. Of course I know that. A couple of years ago, he was a gateway guy. He's a John Boehner wannabe. And we're stuck with him. He evolved, that's cool. And he did a lot to get us this far, admittedly. But he blew it. Not only in his budget negotiations, but he blew it. He could have done a whole lot more for us than he did, and he started shuffling his feet when we needed him most, and we know that he can raise hell when he needs to, and he just didn't do it for us this time. So, but remember, we can demonize him all we want, but the ink is still wet on his job description. He's here for 2.5 more years, people. And he's who we're going to have to deal with. So hopefully, the things that we know, these truths that we have experienced, in the posterior rape of all we were led to believe, moves us to a place where we can now better focus our attention on where it will have the most impact. What's that look like exactly? You tell me. I'm all in. Those were my comments, and you can read that beneath one of the post-Albany pieces that were on the group website. So, where do we go from here? We got work to do, people. But this time we're wise to their bullshit. So again, I'm going to read another one of my own posts because it says what I believe bears repeating here in person one more time. I believe it's important. You may have read it. But it has to do with my attitude going forward, with my energy level going forward, and hopefully yours. Here's what I wrote. Last spring, I allowed myself to be fooled, conned really, into toning it down. I was patted on the back and told, you already won, right? So, chill, you already won this. And it was true. It looked like we were on the path to victory. So I acquiesced and I backed off. I backed off when it came to some of the individuals, particularly elected officials and public servants who were still on the Reefer Madness bandwagon or on the fence or remained mute. Gave them a pass. Gave them a reprieve. Gave them a chance. My mistake. You won't see that again. It's not going to happen again. Not for me. If you're elected by New York State voters, you already know what the will of the people is, no matter which party you represent. If you oppose that, if you oppose the will of the people, we oppose you. And we're going to let you know it. If you're a paid law enforcer, you need to do that. Your job. And get the hell out of lawmaking. So get ready for it. Get ready for it, all of you. Get used to it. If you're silent, you're the problem. You'll be called out. If you buddy up with Project Sam, I'm going to hammer you for it. I'm going to expose the lies each and every single time you present them. You will not be able to hide behind your party bosses or sidestep the reality anymore. The reality is that people by a significant margin across all parties favor adult use legalization of cannabis in New York State. If you stand in the way politically, publicly, or secretly, you're a coward. And I'm not going to tone it down anymore. Never again. Bet on it. That was my commentary. That's what I said. So again, then, what now? Well, we've got to recognize the realities, don't we? Politically, who's in and how long they're going to be there. How do we approach them? Now, I vent like a bulldog here. I do, and we do in our commentary online, but we and I recognize that if we want results, there's a system. If we want results, there's a system. We're going to have to work within it. Oh, we're going to hammer the politicians, all right. We're going to apply more pressure. We're going to make more noise than ever before. Probably be a pain in some asses. But we're going to do it with laser focus and purpose. We have a picture now of what that looks like within our group, don't we? Man, we were writing letters. We're adding members. We're signing petitions, posting on newspaper sites, posting on the sheriff's website, on his Facebook page, on government sites. We are monitoring every word and every article and every hint of where people stood and what people were saying. That and more. That's what we got to do now, still. Again, it's a new semester. Okay, the opposition, they all went home to their cozy, comfortable houses because their job site is closed. Ours isn't. It's summer and many of us are occupied too, and that's fine. And many of us, I know, are making multiple trips to and from Massachusetts to buy cannabis. Let's not forget that. But, we've looked at the pricing, we share menus, and it's not affordable for people. It's not within reach for people, although it's within easy reach, no more than half a tank of gas for a lot of us, or even less. Pretty expensive out there, but nonetheless, people are moving to and from Massachusetts every day. New Yorkers are buying cannabis. One dispensary says over 50% of their business comes from New Yorkers. I believe it. I've been there. Talked with people in line. Let's not forget that our opposing forces aren't on vacation. And I'll be bringing things to the table here that we can do now to get our freedom back. And we're going to go after them. I'll be bringing things to the table here that we can do now to keep our mission front and center and to remind the public servants elected or appointed that we want our freedom back. We're not going to accept anything less. So let's please hammer that word to death. Freedom. Freedom. It's all inclusive, that word. It doesn't need a 100-page document to tell you what it means. Freedom from this day forward. Yes. From this day forward, the adult citizens of the state of New York shall forever be free to cultivate, process, store, transport, and consume the cannabis plant in any or all forms for each citizen's personal use as each citizen sees fit. That's the freedom we're fighting for. That's freedom in a nutshell. Now, of course, they're going to have to set up some damn super complicated regulatory framework around a new commercial market. That's a different issue, isn't it? Setting up a commercial market versus freedom. They can exist side by side, but they don't have to happen simultaneously. So they're going to set up this amazing commercial market and all that goes with it. Sure, great. Bring in the multi-billion-dollar industry. Bring those jobs. Generate tons of profits for the cannabis companies, hopefully of all sizes and descriptions. And allow people who want to be part of all that to be all they can be. Let the masses buy whatever they want, wherever they want. But that's where the feces always hits the fan blades, doesn't it? They always get mired in where the lines get drawn on the damn tax money pie graph. And that brings me back to the F word. Freedom. No, not the other F word. Freedom. Can't say it enough. Brings me back to the F word. Give us our freedom back now, and at the very least, you can sort out your green rush later. Give us the freedom we deserve like Vermont did. Do it now. Do it first, like Vermont did. Then set up your overregulated triple-taxed retail system, and don't worry. You'll succeed. People want it. There'll be lines out the door, and there'll be millions made, and taxes will be collected. But it's a plant like a grape or hops. And you can't deny one's right to grow it and use it privately among family or friends. You can't. Not here, not in America. Not if you want to keep your goddamn job as my paid elected employee, and that's what you are. You're our employees. And we want our freedom back. Get it? So, ladies and Germinators, take these comments and all you see on the Legalize It CNY group page to heart, please. Digest and tailor what you see. Tailor the points to fit your narrative for the people you're around on a day-to-day basis, for your circumstances. Do you find yourself being quiet when you want to scream because you don't want to be mistaken or on some detail or supposed fact? Yeah, that can be good. Don't talk shit you don't know. That's not good for anybody. And what's the one way to make sure that doesn't happen? Well, let me end today quoting someone I admire and respect as much as I'm proud of this person. My son, Kevin. Kevin's an attorney. He's Juris Doctorate. He's a former partner in a major Boston-based international corporate litigation law firm. And he's now the sole legal counsel to a multi-billion-dollar private manufacturing company. Now, if you remember, a few weeks back, the day I was interviewed by WKTV about our sheriff and Project Sam's bogus reefer madness claims. Remember that? And they sliced and diced it, and I got a few precious seconds on TV with my comments. But I knew they were coming, and I had my own camera running for the whole thing. So I recorded the whole thing. And I sent my son Kevin the whole video, and I posted the video here. You guys have seen it, I hope. And if not, go back and take a look. So I sent it to my son Kevin. He's a guy who tells me like it is. If it's good, he tells me. If it's bad, he tells me. And I appreciate that. So he watched me from Boston, unleashed that 2.5 minutes of nonstop me. And he wrote back, "Dad, that was awesome. Yeah, they only use little sound bites, but as a very good advocate, lawyer or otherwise knows, the most valuable weapon in the arsenal is a mastery of the facts. Well done." I'm going to say it again. The most valuable weapon in the arsenal is a mastery of the facts. You know, for me personally, for him to see my passion, to recognize in me what he knows it takes because he's done this, to be able to answer on command under pressure, well, that was my payoff, man. That made me realize I'm on the right track here. I could never ask for a better response to prove to me what I was doing was worthy of my time. Because it was coming from a guy who has argued extremely high-stakes cases in courts both here and abroad, and he usually won. And he sees that I came armed with the facts. So you ask me what you can do now? Load up. Load up. I made multiple gun references earlier, remember? Ammo. Ammunition. Load up. Load up on facts. Facts are the ammo. Our voices are the weapons. And together, we are the Army. Are you new to the group? Lots of you are. We gained a ton of members leading up to the failed legalization attempts. We brought a lot more people in. So if you're new, scan the pages here. The group's been in existence for over a year. Take a look. I still do. We've got some fascinating, wonderful, diverse, weird, funny, and memorable people up in here. So share. Meet us. Contribute. Communicate. Even the administrators, we fuck up sometimes. Oops. We mess up sometimes. And our star contributors, they have varying perspectives, and it gets heated once in a while. But man, we're united on this. Honestly, this group has become bigger than anything I could have imagined. So stay tuned, ladies and Germinators. There's more to come. And let it come from you. Please. Let it come from you. Let's do this together. Let's focus. Let's aim. We don't have to scream and yell at everyone. We'll use a scalpel this time. We will find those individuals who stand in our way, and we will hold their feet to the fire, as we should. Don't back off. Don't back down. Don't chill, and don't settle. I'm done. And I hope you are too. So what's that all mean? Well, going forward, we're going to be bringing some suggestions and some actions that we can take both individually and collectively. So please, monitor the group, monitor each other, friend each other, learn to understand each other, and be excellent to each other, in the words of Bill or Ted or both. Be good to each other. You know, we've bounced a couple people. Don't be abusive. Just be good to each other. Different views are always welcome. But we're pretty good at identifying trolls in our midst, so we get rid of them pretty quick. And read the group's mission statement on the group's front page. Make sure you're in agreement with it. And if there's anything there you want to discuss, put it right out there. Put a comment right out there. Anything about cannabis, anything at all. And we'll be there for each other. We are also, as you see, regularly posting menus of Massachusetts dispensaries, directions, prices, reviews of their products. Keep it up. You know, right now we've gotten to the point where, especially for those of us in eastern New York State, the Albany area, the Capital District, for instance, I guess you could say if you live around there, cannabis is already legal because the cannabis doesn't know what state it's in, does it? So if you live in Albany or the Capital District, you hop over the border, about 25 minutes, you're in Lee, Massachusetts, where you can buy cannabis, all cannabis products. And it seems like every 30 or 40 or even 50 miles that you may travel, you're going to run into another dispensary. Are we being unlawful by discussing it on our group? Absolutely not. I'll give you directions. If you decide to go to Massachusetts and buy some cannabis and bring it back to New York State, you criminal, that's on you. But just in case you do, follow some basic guidelines, for goodness sakes. Make sure that your car is inspected, that every light works, that every signal light works. Drive sober, 100% unimpaired. If you happen to have any cannabis in your possession when you cross out of Freedom Land, Massachusetts, back into Prohibition Land, New York. Lock it up. Lock it up in a locked briefcase and lock that briefcase in your trunk, because from my understanding is it'll take a search warrant for anybody to look at it. And don't give anyone a reason to pull you over. Be responsible. And if you want to be 100% lawful, drive to Massachusetts, buy your cannabis, use it, throw the rest away and come home. Or not. These are my comments. Post, what did I call it earlier? What did I call it earlier? The New York Assembly session, or better described as the year of the big green lie. Because that's what it was, wasn't it? It's a big green lie. We're going after him, though. Don't give up. You deserve your freedom. And again, and again, and again. Make that word number one, because without it, nothing else matters. They set up a legal market, and they tell us, okay, you can buy some, but you'll buy it where we tell you to buy it, and you'll pay what we tell you to pay. And they'll call our freedom the illicit market. The black market sounds even worse, doesn't it? I hate the word the black market. I hate the idea that anybody uses the word black to connotate something bad, because really it's a great color. I love black. So fight for your freedom and understand what it means. Read through the group pages, get to know each other, and going forward, hopefully we'll have an impact. Make your own moves. We have a member here that started a petition. Change.org petition from Seth. Sign the thing. I did. You're going to get some emails after. All right. Move those emails to your junk folder if you aren't getting a lot of them. But if you look at change.org, they've done some good. And Seth's not sitting on his hands. He's doing something. And going forward, we're going to give you phone numbers. We're going to give you letters. We're going to give you email addresses. And we're going to give you times where we can make moves together, where we can bang these people with emails, or flood their mailbox with letters, or leave 150 messages a day, like we were doing just prior to the failed attempt at legalization, because that's what's going to change things. Reminding them, whoa, these people are serious. They're not going to stop. We're not. Like I said, I'm through. I'm through backing off. No more Mr. Nice Guy, if you want to put it that way, as if I was that nice about it to begin with. But that's where we are, ladies and Germinators. So great to have you here. I'm going to wrap up this LICNY podcast for July 12th, 2019 by reminding you LICNY is a Facebook group initiative, but it's sponsored by my businesses, Gary's Music Store right here in downtown Rome's beautiful arts district, where in the rear of the store exists my sub-store, Gigs. Gary's Indoor Garden Supply, where I do sell stuff to grow stuff with indoors. I'll leave it at that. I think you get the idea. Along with a full selection of CBD products. That's a whole other commercial I'm not going to bore you with now. Those of you who know me, those of you who know about my shops and my businesses, know what I do. Come and see me. I'll make you grow better. I'll make you feel better. And, if you're a musician, I'll help you play better, because that's what I do up in here. But for now, people, focus, read the group, free the weed, and I'll be back soon with more. Until then, peace and pot.